Okay, rulers, settle down. Ruler School is brought to you by Odyssey Games, where you can go to get singles for all your Force of Will and other trading card games, as well as these amazing patrons. Thank you for your support. Class is in session.
Hey there, rulers. Welcome back after a long week of Force of Will. But if you need a little bit of help with your homework, you've come to the right place. It's Office Hours, your favorite ever live Force of Will podcast featuring myself, Jeremy Franklin, and I am joined, as always, by Paul Reisman, Mike Rance, who's hiding. But today, the most important part is Chris Rance, Mike's dad, whose birthday is today. So we decided to say happy birthday. Happy birthday, Chris. Thank you for being a father to such a zany member of the Force Will community. We're very appreciative. So everybody in the chat, let's give Chris some happy birthdays. Give some kikis in the chat for Chris as a happy birthday. Glad to have you here. How you doing, Chris?
Good. I spawned him in my own lab way back, 20 years ago or thereabouts.
That makes a lot of sense. Well, we're appreciative, and we hope you have a great happy birthday.
Thank you.
Everybody in the chat, giving you happy birthdays. Perfect.
In the chat, saying happy birthday to you. Yeah. Oh, thanks everybody.
Yeah, so while that's going on, I do want to just remind everybody about a few things as we get started here. If you like what we do, go ahead and click that subscribe button as well as the bell so you're notified all the times we go live. As well as maybe, you're in the chat, which is great. Just for some reference in terms of if you want to support us financially, you can click that join button down below. It's the way that you get access to all of these awesome emotes that you see people spamming in the chat for Chris, as well as all kinds of other perks like on our Discord server and everything else.
See that?
It's a great way to support us, and it goes immediately to be able to help us purchase new equipment or travel and everything else, so we really appreciate it. Also, important things to note, there's two links in the description that are pretty important. One is the link to the February 6th Games and Geek Discord webcam tournament. $1,500 cash up for grabs among the top 8 regardless of attendance, so you should definitely check that out. And then also, if you're hungry for the next set, Magic Stone War, Odyssey Games has now officially put up their pre-orders for that set. There's a link below to take you right to the pre-order page. It is $85 US per box. Get them while they're hot, because I guarantee that they are going to go very quickly. And so you really need to pick up the set. So we're pushing that as much as we can until that's all sold out, and we'll keep you informed. But with that out of the way, and with tons of emotes and giving lots of love to Chris, we're going to go ahead and jump into our topics tonight. So thank you very much for joining us, Chris.
All right.
And
cheers, everyone.
Cheers to you, and have a great night.
Thanks, guys.
I don't have anything in my bottle, but there we go.
Off and running. Get on out of here.
There we go. That was a good start. So tonight, in the true vein of Office Hours, it is an open house. We are kind of at a spot of not really having anything new to talk about in terms of things that are going on in the Force of Will world. We're still waiting on spoiler stuff. We expect those to be started either sometime this week or into next week. And so we're just kind of on pause, right? And we've kind of gotten ourselves familiar with Epic of the Dragon Lord. Now we're waiting for new stuff. And so to that end, it's up to you. I have some things here that the chat that I asked about on Force of Will Global and some other communities earlier today of topics for us to kind of talk about. But if you are in the chat and you have a question or something you'd like to hear our opinions on or anything else like that, or a problem you're having with Force of Will related, or just want to know, let us know in the chat. This is what it's all about. We're here for an hour to answer your questions, whatever they might be. That being said, I do have some topics that were brought up in it already here. First being, speaking of that Discord tournament, this idea of online engagement in terms of play, and our thoughts, or maybe our opinions about why being able to play online or being engaged online right now is so important. So anyone can kind of field that question first. I've been talking a lot, so someone else can kind of jump in for a bit. The idea of why online play right now is so important.
Sweet. Okay. Sorry, I had to get these headphones on. There's a little bit of an echo thing.
Oh, okay.
You guys can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you just fine.
Yep. Okay, cool. So online play. Yes.
Yeah. Give us your thoughts, Mike. Why is online play so important right now?
Bit of a, deadly virus happening outside, so playing inside it's kind of good. But I think online play is probably some of the best it's been right now, just because of how, currently we have a bunch of obviously the New Frontiers format has been semi-solved so far. People have been playing, the decks that they think are the best, and a lot of them have kind of proven that they're the best at this point. Everybody knows that Rizard's really good. Everybody knows that Lily's kills on turn 2. Everybody else is like, oh, this ruler is probably going to be good, and then loses to the other two. So, it's just kind of like, everything like that kind of happens. But also, at the same time, there's a lot of time to just kind of like play fun matches on tap with no real, like seriousness to it. You can have a good casual match. There are so many formats to play in right now, like Epic Stories, Conqueror, Wanderer. I've been talking to Cal on some other ideas that might get featured in the OLS soon.
Oh,
so
nice.
yeah, I've been helping Cal out a little bit with like some OLS stuff, just to kind of revitalize it, give it a little bit of a boost, because I think a lot of people are starting to get I think a lot of people are getting a little bit bored with playing online, just because it's been a year of COVID.
Oh, a year, yeah, a lot.
So a lot of people are still itching for their LGS. It's not quite the same playing online as it is being able to hold the cards physically. I know there's something about holding cards and playing the match just that gets way more satisfying than click.
It's tactile. It's a tactile, like.
It's
feeling.
very, very tactile.
Yeah.
But in the absence of that, just the ability to kind of get a similar feeling whenever you can is really nice. And I just think that I'm helping Cal out with a little bit of extra stuff on the OLS and trying to make sure that the idea of like that week-long break after one, so that people aren't just like finishing the matches and then immediately have to submit another deck list. It's just like it'll also help with the burnout that people are already experiencing, give them some time to think, make a new deck, brew a little bit. I want to see 2 weeks of OLS and then a week of people just going into chat rooms and just brewing up a storm.
Yeah,
like that's
for sure.
the kind of thing I want to see, because I love telling people why their deck's wrong and what they should put in their deck to make it great.
Yeah, I think the online stuff right now is so much about even just being able to enjoy the cards, right? Because it's so important right now to help even serve as a justification for why am I buying these? Because if you're buying cards and then you don't have anybody to play with, then you've just spent money on cardboard that's going to sit there, and eventually that cardboard is going to be usable again, right? Because you're going to be able to go to a store and everything else like that. But you want to be able to like use them, right? And so looking at the cards in person and then finding a way to go play online, I think right now helps as a stopgap to like give you still the satisfaction of the fact that like this was worth you putting money into. Right?
Exactly.
Obviously it would be better if you could be with a person, but at least you have this avenue, so it's not like, oh, I just threw money down the drain. Right?
Yep.
And so that for me is, I think, why it's still so important.
Yeah, like nothing's gonna beat the feeling of just OTKing somebody with the most ridiculous combo you've ever made up, and then just watching their face be like, nothing beats that.
Yeah, or like finishing your match and then going to go watch other people and being like, oh man, or like how many times where I'm like, hey Mike, come over here, like I think this is over, right? Like he's just gonna like the hush tones of like talking to each other about someone else's match.
It's harassing you between rounds.
Yeah, that too.
But now, I'm so excited for next tournament season because I don't have to play because I got my invite, which means I can just go to a tournament and just sit by the table and talk shit about you, and it'll be great.
Maybe not that, but
imagine real school, but in real life.
Paul, what about your thoughts on this one?
Oh goodness, I gotta recover. Oh my god. Okay, move to recovery phase. Okay, main phase 1. So at this point, I think what's so important about online play is that any card game has some form of like online interactivity, right? Like any good card game has that. And I think that Force of Will being able to kind of figure out how to do Force of Will through the internet is super, super important for the life of this game. All these folks out here who are saying, I don't have a local scene. How do I get better? How can I practice? If you have a webcam, you can. If you have Untapped, you can. And I think it's just going to help the game grow even more, especially if you're just like, here, just follow this link and build the deck. That's something that's going to be awesome. Albeit, Untap is not the online client we all want for Force of Will, but
no
it
dueling
is
network
certainly
for
something. It is not dueling network. It is
like-
also not.
It's no Dev Pro. I will
Yeah,
say
it's
It's
that.
not Dev Pro.
Yeah.
I wish it were Dev Pro.
Rip in
but-
peace, FBS.
Yeah.
Oh goodness. But I mean, I think any card game, to make it more accessible, needs to be playable outside of the cards themselves.
Yeah.
Hands down.
Yep.
Because they're expensive.
Yep.
Even Force of Will can get expensive at some levels.
Quick thing here, quick question before we go to the next topic. Travis, with Faust engraven in play with a promise counter on it, when Faust dies in play, do both Faust come into play? I don't think the Faust that just died will see itself as a resonator with the counter going to grave.
Because you have to counter that, because its effect resolves as if it was on the field. It doesn't resolve in the grave.
Right. So if you have a Faust here and a Faust here, when this Faust dies, it in the graveyard doesn't see the action of something going from field to grave with a counter on it. So you should only get the one. Like they'll just swap. Would be my thought. Otherwise, that's broken as hell, and you can't ever kill Faust. Like
Yeah.
which I don't think is the case. So I don't think that works. That's
I'm fairly
But
certain
don't-
it doesn't.
but
Consult your local
Consult
judge.
your local
Tag
judge.
Charlie.
Tag
Charlie-
Charlie or Steph. Here's a question. Another one. Matt, what does Found need going forward to improve?
Legacy support.
I disagree with you, to be perfectly honest, on that. I think Forza will, while legacy support would be appreciated by those of us who are playing it, who have been playing it for a while, I honestly don't think it's something that this game needs in order to improve. It would make the game better. So I'm not saying that, but do I think that Faust's going to cave or never get better unless we have legacy support? I don't think that's true.
Yeah, the only thing that I think of when I think of legacy support is I think that a lot of people, I know this from people who've played Magic the Gathering, who've stopped playing in Magic Standard formats because they don't like buying cards that they know that in 1.5 to 2 years will no longer see any usage.
Oh, sure.
And I think that's a big thing with, like, especially getting like a new crowd. If you want to expand out to newer players, you want to give them product that they know will have longevity, along with the ones that they want just for the moment.
Yeah, Faust sets need to be bigger in order to make that possible.
It's true.
We like the way the Faust sets are designed right now. We don't have room for flushing out a full set worth of rulers and providing support for things of the past. We would need to bump up to 150, 175 card sets. Like you'd have to. And
you mean legacy support as in like printing cards for old stuff?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Oh, I just meant more strictly curating a ban list and putting attention into.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
But
You're talking about legacy support in terms of cards. Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Although I do want to see legacy support in general, but that's just
right. I would agree that I think that if we could have I think that having a ban list would definitely improve things. But yeah, I mean, like I think having a ban list, I think would be great. I don't think there's really much that needs to ever be put on a ban list. Like I look at Yu-Gi-Oh's ban list, restricted list, limited list. First off, I'm never doing restricted or limited. I'm only doing banning. Like if a card is bad enough to warrant action, it's bad enough to go away.
Yep.
I think that Forza will. I mean, throughout its history, really, hasn't had a ton of cards that need to fall on that ban list, and I think over time, the actions that would need to take, like the actions in terms of number of cards that we would need to put on a ban list, like I can think of like single cards that like if we ban this one, we fix a lot of things. It's not like we have to ban a bunch of stuff, right? Like I think now, like if we banned Rhea, like that'd be great. I think we solve a lot of problems, right? If we just
Well,
banned Rhea. I don't think we need to ban literally anything else. I think we could just ban Rhea and be done. But like,
looking back,
but that's, I mean, it's hard to justify, and we'll continue to advocate for it. So just to wait and see. It's a good question though. Let's see. David Bruns, I think online content needs to be improved, not just YouTube. No offense, you guys are necessary. I don't know what that means. I just hate that being led to an official website that's 90% out of date. I would argue that the official website isn't actually out of date. They just don't put a lot of information on there.
and there's
Like,
information that is out of date if you go onto them. Like the ban list is still like the ban list
oh,
from.
sure, yeah, like that's, but that's because like they haven't kept the ban list up, right? So like that ban list just hasn't been updated with any card changes or anything, so it's naturally been left to expire. So it's not really particularly out of date. It's more just not relevant. In terms of what they choose to update, it's just not a lot.
Yeah.
But I don't disagree that they could do a lot better work on that. I'm not entirely sure what you mean in terms of content needs to improve. Specifically, you're part of not just YouTube. I don't really know if that's directed towards us doing a bad job or not.
No, I think
Maybe elaborate a little bit more on what you mean there, because
I'm gonna take this in the best direction and just say that like we need more content that is quality for Force
sure.
of Will, and I don't disagree.
Tell me more.
Most of the content on YouTube is so like getting more variety, and I think that's something even you've said in the past. Like you want that, like you want more variety of content and better quality content all around.
Oh yeah, for sure. I've been very public about the fact that if any FAO content creators want help getting started or like aren't sure where to get started, please message me. I will gladly help. I just today, this is something for the future, but there's a new game coming out called Gate Ruler, that some of its initial stuff is using some Force of Will artwork, and we're going to be working with some members of the Force of Will community to. Nothing Force of Will related is going to decrease. Like none of us are going to be working on it, but this new group of people are going to be like coming on to the channel as partners to do Gate Ruler content. And so today, as preparation for that, I built an Amazon wish list that is the how to start recording for YouTube Amazon wish list that I can just send to you with direct links. Here's how to get started. So if you ever want to know how to start, give me a message and I'll send you this wonderful Amazon shopping list that you can just buy it all at once. I would agree that the Force of Will history of BowTubers has very much always ebbed and flowed. It's like we have spikes and then we have divots, but we have way more like drop-offs than rises. Like we don't have very many people who ever get to like big status in the FAO-tuber world, purely because of what we are as a game, and unfortunately kind of also because of what we do on the channel. We cover a lot, so it can sometimes be difficult for someone else to break out of our shadow. The few that have, for one reason or another, stop. But I agree what you're talking about. The company themselves could also produce content. That's always been very hit or miss. Like even at the best of times, it was hit or miss. Like even with Jeff and EG, it was hit or miss. Just in terms of like consistency or like what they were actually putting out, right? So that's difficult. Yeah, FAO Library is a great resource. That certainly has been a really good FAOlibrary.com is very great. article-based resource for people who don't necessarily have time to do reading or watching but want to read or delve deep. Definitely check out foullibrary.com. It is a fantastic resource. I think they're still working on forums. I don't know if those are up yet, but I know that that's something that Dennis eventually wants to get in there, so that'll be really awesome.
Here's a question, Jeremy.
Yeah.
If there were going to be additional content for the game, what would each of us want to see?
Oh.
Not to give us more competition, but I want more competition for us.
Oh yeah, no, that's fair.
100%.
I
Thursday podcasts.
I will say that I would love a dedicated unboxing channel. Purely because that's just an art appreciation.
Get Dan Roland on it.
And like people like that. Like people like opening stuff. And people like watching people open stuff. It does drive some attention.
Vicariously open the boxes.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I did with Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah. So I think for me that would be nice. That would be cool to see someone go to. I will say if you're on TikTok, there is a person who used to play Force of Will who's getting back into it. He is the bardiest bard on TikTok, and he's been getting into doing TikTok. I followed him. I downloaded TikTok just so that I could follow him.
Bardiest bard.
The
He's
bardiest bard.
I remember when Brandon Bremont and Patrick Kwan were like the bigs on TikTok.
He's not memeing. He just does TikTok. He just does TikTok videos where he opens like a single pack of cards. Like that's all the TikTok is. Or just like one pack for a TikTok.
That's wholesome.
So
Patrick
that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. More stuff like that would be nice to see. So that would be me. What about you, Paul?
What I really want is a dedicated lore channel.
Ooh.
To like really get into like the telling of the story and like the showing of the cards and sort of like giving the like this is what happened and like showing the artwork in that way. I would love that.
Yeah, that's cool. Joshua Mostart, who's in the chat, that is the bardiest bard. He's our TikTok.
Hey!
Whoa!
Congrats, buddy. Give him a little shout.
We're among a celebrity.
Yeah. Sir Dune Sandwich in the modern climate, an unboxing channel would be huge for the game. Yeah, I mean, like if I had the avenue to be able to be and the time to be doing like consistent unboxings like that, it'd certainly be something I push for. Right now, we just focus on the major unboxings of new sets as they come out. That's kind of whenever Deepwood's put out unboxing videos, it's literally just been like a box or two of the new set, and we haven't really delved deep at this point. But I don't know. I would definitely say there's a lot more gameplay and analysis channels than there are unboxing channels. Yes,
significantly. So yeah, I mean, like I personally prefer analysis channels. I'm not really huge on unboxings, but like obviously I understand their merits, and I know that people want to see what's in there, because if you haven't opened Force Will before, you see somebody open a box, you know what to expect.
More willing to try it out.
Yeah, I think it's a big thing.
What about you?
I'll commentate Todd's boxes.
Yeah, okay. What about you, Mike? What kind of content would you want to see being produced?
That's tough. Especially because, like, a lot of the time, the stuff that I want to see, I have in my mind to make, but then they never get made because I get home from work and I feel emotionally drained and want to go to bed. So
that's fair.
It's a little bit of everything, but I think mainly what I like to see, I love analysis, and I want to see so I'm very, very guilty of watching top 10 videos of things that I don't play. I watch a lot of Needs Home Magic, who does top 10 videos of empirical data for a lot of Magic's history. I watch top 10 videos on new Hearthstone sets, despite quitting that game a year and a half ago. And I if there's a video that's like a top 10 of this certain game, I'm a sucker for it, and that's why I like top 10 videos and I want to make more of them, but I just never have the time to make them. I don't know what would be interesting to do top 10s on for the game.
Yeah, that's something that I don't feel like I have a good grasp of how to be able to do that.
Yeah, that's why I've been toying with it, and you might see a top 10 video from us coming out. Normally we do like the top 10 cards of a set or top 10 cards of like
Sure.
whatever. But we've been thinking about like historical top 10s, like top 10 cards of certain clusters or sets if we want to be total masochists.
I'm gonna see if I can convince Ryan Miles to sign a contract to bring back the daily mileage here on Ruler School. Maybe I'll do that.
God.
Jeez.
That guy's too busy doing
terms of
everything
analysis.
else besides Force of Will right now.
Bring back the daily mileage. That was a fun
Yeah.
project. No, that's all good stuff. I mean, I will say, Paul, your thing that you're wanting, we kind of have something in the works for that. Kind of. Not like directly, but
No. I'm talking like
you're talking
all
like
in
the
on
lore,
the story.
like the lore.
Yeah.
Have I done a top 10 of all time? We have not.
That might be directed at me.
Oh. Yeah.
No. The answer is also no.
It would just be DBV. I mean, it would just be DBV cards. I don't think you'd have to.
Everyone anything but Kaguya or Levitine original. If not,
it's
not it.
Kaguya, Levitin original, Perfect Loki, Captain Hook, Prisya, Fox, Scheherazade. Like,
did you put Scheherazade underneath Prisya and Fox?
no, the order was not what I meant for it to be in. I'm just like, these are the cards. Like, it's determined, done.
Well, have you done a top 10 all time? Look at current ban list.
Yeah, pretty much.
The EU1 ban list. Those are cards that are strong enough to be banned in that format, and that format is obscene.
Yeah. It's
Yeah,
about to
okay.
need some very serious overhaul. They don't know that yet, but it's about to need some very serious overhaul.
A
Um,
final battle. Fair
Final
enough.
Battle's okay. Final Battle's just, it's no perfect Loki, but it's a Final Battle.
Honorable mention. Yeah, fair enough.
yeah, I'd probably put it in an
Or
honorable mention.
it's definitely not an honorable mention.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, trying to get to some of the other topics here.
Oh yeah. Hey, Jeremy had a thing going on here.
Yeah, no, it's all good. This is what it's supposed to be. Like, these were things to hit, like, if we didn't get to them, right? This idea of Conqueror / Wanderer. To kind of explain it, Wanderer is the unlimited format with its own ban list and literally nothing else. Like, it's just like everything is playable except for this ban list. Conqueror is slightly different. It's got a different ban list that I think is much better flushed out. And also in regards to a rule change regarding rune rulers to make them more in line with the other rulers that exist. It's particularly that you can't play chant runes, just pure runes, which certainly brings them down to a level of being, alongside the rest of the cast.
The 5 free cards they get aren't as strong as they could have been.
Yeah, so it's significantly better of a format, and that's it. There used to be a lot more rule changes when the format was Erratas, when the format was first created, and I wasn't a huge fan of all of that because how do you remember all of them? It's bad. Now it's a lot simpler and a lot better. So those are kind of the main differences.
Also, the format isn't just based on those rule changes. There could be more in the future. The thing is, we are more subject to being able to make CR level rule changes to fit the format than Wanderer is. Wanderer has to exist within the CR that exists currently, and that's
because technically it's an official format, whereas Conqueror is a fan format. So
exactly, yeah,
we can have some of those modifications.
Yeah, we get to have.
What in current New Frontiers? This is the next one we have. While I'm waiting to see more. Steven, I want sped up videos of people doing custom art on cards. Yeah, I'd love to see custom artists. You remember when?
Learn to draw again.
Yay! Remember when a man? By the way, there is a Forcible YouTuber who's just getting started by the name of Austin Art, who's on the
Yes!
Reddit.
Oh, so good.
Ostenart has done really good stuff.
So
They recently put up a video showing their Priscia Frogless, which was very fun. And at the end of that Priscia Frogless, they did a speed paint of Priscia with a frog, and it was adorable. So go check them out. That's certainly something that we want to see more of. That'd be very, very cool. Maybe we can get Ostenart on here one day to do a speed paint or something for us.
I want to do a thing.
Have them on the stream. We'll talk while Osten does an artwork and see what he can do in the span of an hour.
I just want to talk to Austin while he does art.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I do that. You could do the other thing.
Yeah, sure. That's fine. This next one that we want to talk about is this idea of, in the current New Frontiers format, we just started, right? We just started. We're breaking into. We have a long time to go in this New Frontiers era. Is there a card or cards that you think will always be playable in the current New Frontiers until it rotates?
Ragnarok.
Not a ruler.
Oh, okay. I see what you mean now.
Like a main deckable card.
Mikage Rhea.
Yep. I think Mikage Rhea is absolutely. I think
best card ever created. In the best card in Alice Origin. Don't even think about denying this fact.
I'm trying to see if I would consider it the best. Well, he left. He's so angry at me thinking that he left. He's back. I don't know if I would consider it. I'm thinking about whether or not I can accept the fact of calling it the best.
I don't know what else you would call.
I mean, Pharesia would be my only other potential grab.
Pharesia's garbage. Okay, Pharesia is very good, but it's no Mikage Rhea.
Like, I just had a fit, like, trying to argue that Pharesia is garbage. Like, hello, if you think that's true, I have a bridge to sell you, please.
Oh, dude, I love bridges. Hang on.
Heck, yeah. No, I think in terms of Alice Origins Cluster, you're probably right. I think that regardless of what you're gonna do, there's so many things that, with the existence of cards that have Remnant, so many of which being Darkness, that, like, even if we, so, like, let's say we banned we unprinted every single black-green card, Mikage Rhea would still be insane for the just basic black cards and, like, black-blue. Like, play Rhea, send Space-Time Anomaly to grave. Okay, great.
If Rhea didn't even have an effect to put something into the grave when she entered play, she'd still be better than, like, 90% of the cards in Alice Origin.
I think that
that's
Rhea,
the pedestal I put her on.
I think that Rhea is probably a card that will be in competitive decks until she rotates. Which is great that she's a promo, but also probably deserves to be banned.
Yeah.
Schrodinger?
Yeah.
Not as much as Rhea.
No,
Oh
not
my-
Schrodinger. Schrodinger's Cry.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I would say Schrodinger's Cry. I would say Schrodinger's
That card's
Cry.
normal. That card's playable in Pauper format.
Yeah, I would agree that Schrodinger's Cry is probably a card that will always
It
see
hasn't been for
competitive play.
It hasn't been
Probably
for
always
Pauper.
see play as long as it's rotated. Guinevere has literally stood the test of time. I mean, she's a good draw power for red, I suppose.
Dark Alice took her out back behind the bar and popped 2 caps in her and just left. Then the 2 caps of the card she drew and then discarded and then drew the card and then discarded. So, whatever. Couldn't even bring back from the grave because you can't target her. Oops, sorry, Dark Alice.
I'm trying to think that there's any card in Epic of the Dragonlord that I think is always going to be playable. And the only thing I can think of off the top of my head that I'm just like, any situation, regardless what the format is, this is a card that you would consider playing, would be Hideout.
Yeah, Hideout's really good.
That seems good.
Like,
Matt Seymour said Kiki.
Also, yeah, and Kiki. It's Cheshire Cat.
Kiki is very, very solid.
Even in the beginning of the Forcible Game's existence, you had decks that had no reason to play blue, splash blue, just for Cheshire. Like, it's in the same vein. Kiki will always see play.
Cheshire fell off a little bit in recent years, but Kiki is just like Cheshire Cat Plus with some extra, benefits to it.
Yeah.
It's also a beast, which is fun.
Yeah. No. Those are kind of my thoughts. I mean, obviously, most of the Marvels are probably going to sit in that list. I try not to get too big into the Marvels. It's just going to be how it is.
They're Marvels for a reason.
They're Marvels for a reason. A couple other things. I'm still. Please feel free if you have any other questions or thoughts topics that you want us to talk about in the chat. Please let us know. I will say once again, this Lumia is down here trying to get unlocked. So if you want to join as a member and help us get that unlocked, we need 19 more people to join. It is the goal of the channel for this year in 2021. We have two goals. One, we want to break 8,000 subscribers. Finally, we've been stuck in the 7,000 subscriber limbo for like ever due to Valve slowing down and speeding up and then slowing down and then speeding up. So breaking 8,000, finally breaking that hurdle. And two, getting to 150 members total. Getting this Lumia emote unlocked would get us to the 100 mark, which I would love to get to by the end of January. It'd be a great start to set us up for the rest of 2021 to try to get to that 150 mark. So if you're interested, consider clicking it. It's only $2. The base level is only $2 a month, which is cheaper than a Twitch subscription. So just something to consider. We appreciate it either way.
I see a lot of people talking about Suya being the card that they choose. Suya's entire existence is 100% tied to Rizard. As soon as Rizard goes, Suya sees no play.
Yeah,
hot take right there.
I would agree. Yeah. A big part of Suya is the fact that Suya is significantly less of a commitment and more of a threat in the graveyard because Death Scythe can play him.
Yep, exactly.
So like that's a problem.
Well, Rizard is good, Suya is good. When Rizard stops being good or rotates out, Suya's gone.
Yep. New players, starter decks, ruler distribution. Try to see. Hold on. Trying to see what this topic is about. Suya and Hideout are both good. Buy collectible form. Todd. New players, STA. New players, starter decks, and ruler distribution. New players obviously is
that's
great.
New players, space-time anomaly, STA.
Oh, sure.
Okay, cool.
Starter decks. We've advocated to the company that they need to bring back starter decks. The best thing that they can do, if not to do starter decks, is to improve the ruler distribution to be 2 per box, so that a team of people can split a box. We'll have to see. I would put money on the fact that we're going to see more than 1 ruler per box next set. Like, I personally would put money on it. So, if that tells you anything.
Some mildly telling, just a.
Skylar, so I've been doing nothing but buying stuff from the first 8 sets and Owl's Cluster stuff. Is that a good idea investment-wise? I don't play competitive and just with friends in Michigan. First off, you're in Michigan? Hello? We are in Michigan. Please tell where
I'm not. Hi.
Please tell where we be friends. I don't necessarily know if Force of Will is something that I would consider to be a game that you invest in. There are certainly some spiky sets that you can flip very easily money-wise, particularly DBB, Curse of the Frozen Casket sometimes sells pretty well. Moon Priestess, Legacy Lost moves quickly. Time Spinning Witch for sure. Castle of Heaven and the 2 Towers also moves quickly. Like that stuff maybe, but I wouldn't go out of my way personally to try to be like, I'm going to invest in sealed product. I just see previous podcast. As we kind of talk about
ask Dan Rowland. He knows a thing or two about a thing or two about a thing or two.
Yeah. And he actually said not for investment, maybe some sealed. Let's see.
Okay, bye, Paul.
I refuse to put on the gloves. I legitimately don't know where they are. They're somewhere in this house. I don't know. I'll try to find them. I tell you what. If we can get to 100 members by the end of January, I will spend the entire month of February, every single video wearing the gloves.
Ooh.
100 members total by the end of January. Every video, every moment that I am on screen for the entire month of February, I will wear the gloves. I will find them and I will wear them.
Get Valentine's pattern gloves for February.
Yeah, get new gloves made.
Also, Skylar is apparently located in Lapeer, plays in Flint.
Oh, cool. East side of the state. We're west side over by Kalamazoo.
Rippy.
Yeah, no, for the sake of investing to build old decks and play with friends, that's a great. Those cards are great fun. So that's great.
If you can build a cube out of that and just make a cube for your friends out of just those sets. Like it's a thing.
I would have to find them first. I have an idea of where they might be. I just have to actually find them. Odyssey Games does not ship to Canada. Anyone know of a reputable supplier where Canadians can pre-order sets from DualKingdom.ca?
Dual Kingdom, yes.
DualKingdom.ca. Dylan Hunt,
a good boy.
Yep. Returns of Uber's secret QR codes. QR codes probably not coming back. Secret rares maybe. Doubtful we ever see Ubers come back. We'll see.
It'd be nice if we saw Ubers again eventually.
I would love it. I would love it.
I love Ubers. I love the Uber rulers. I don't like the Uber cards in the deck just because of how I hate like moving them around in things.
Sure.
When it's the ruler, you just slap it on the table. Whatever. It's gone.
Yeah. For sure. That mecha, I'm probably the only person who buys or plays Force of Will in a 50 mile radius, but I like collecting the cards because they're very good quality. And sometimes that's all I need.
Yes.
Sometimes that's all you
need. Thick cards.
Here in a wooden box under the floorboards. I don't think
under the floorboards.
I could go check. I could go check the one place that I think they are right now. I think I'll do that. I'm gonna go find out. So while I'm gone, I would like you guys to talk about this idea of what is the importance, or why should people consider the importance of playing multiple colors within their deck? Like, what's the benefit of it, and why is it something that is important to consider? So I'm going to go check the place where I think the gloves are while you guys talk about that.
Ooh, all right. We're being left with the topic. All right.
Ooh, uh-oh.
Okay, so here's the reason you play more than one color, because many card in many color are good.
Yeah. You go multicolored if other card good, and you want play too.
Oh yeah, want play card, good card, but me also want play good color. Me want play me favorite color, but card good. So put card in favorite color, multicolor, make good deck.
Also, sometimes ruler need 2 color.
Sometimes ruler do need 2 color. Sometimes ruler need 5 color.
Sometimes ruler need 5 color.
Oh wait, yeah, Jeremy's gone. Spam key.
Spam key. Do it. Yes. Do it.
Yeah. But no, I think one of the big reasons about playing multicolor cards is that, like, obviously you're going to get a much more a much more consistent deck if you play a monocolor deck. Force of Will is designed in a way so that if your stone deck is all the same stone, it's not like Magic where you get mana flooded or mana screwed. You are always getting what you want. But if you play multicolors, that means that you just play, you can play as many colors as you want. You can have a primary color and then a couple of secondary colors to flesh it out. If you're playing, say, something like Celesta or Lilius, where they don't have access to Ataractus and Moria, then you're playing, I was making a Celesta deck based around putting a bunch of guys on board and playing attack stance and then going face. So I played 4 blue-red stones, 4 blue-white stones, and 2 blue-black stones, because you got the arm of the demon guy. And then you swing with a bunch of Drainbane with +6/+6. So basically what you do is you tailor your deck to whatever you want. Like, there's nothing telling you that you need to play more than one color in your deck, unless it's something that you think makes your strategy more viable in a different color.
Yeah, I think going dual color gives you the benefit of doing both. So Celesta with green gives you access to things like Morgiana, so you can search your deck more thoroughly if you play Kiki, for instance. But if you want to get rid of, I don't know, that pesky barrier edition that we continue to have, the secret hideout, I just play a little bit extra white. So if you get into your 1-drop edition removal treasure item, but you don't want it removed from the game, you can just cast it. For instance.
Matt, as a follow-up to your question here, but what's the merit for multicolors? Like, why bother if it's got a downside? In Force of Will, colors have an identity, and I say that in the sense of there have been times in Force of Will's history where color identity has not really been great in terms of like being well defined, but like certain colors present threats in certain ways and provide answers in different ways, and those interactions don't always line up well. So sometimes if you're running one color and you're going up against a color who presents threats with one way, your color's answers might not line up with those threats very well. So there's a benefit to having access to another color's mode of answers as a way to shore up that matchup or make it easier. There's also ways to enhance your color's threat by supporting it with stuff that comes from a different color. Something like that. So there's this piece of being solely focused on one color. While you have the ultimate consistency, you limit your flexibility and you limit your utility. And Force of Will is a game where utility above consistency typically wins out. Having the most utility, even if it doesn't always go off smoothly, typically puts you in a winning position more so than consistency does, while sacrificing that utility.
Because most of the time with the game, you're already playing the most consistent card game imaginable. On turn 1, you have the potential to see 10 out of your 40 cards. Like, that's already 25% of your deck. Literally from there, you can base your assumption of what cards you'll be able to play on turns 1 and 2 by how you know you built your stone deck. Like, you're going to look at your hand. If, say, you're, like, for this Celeste example with the 4 red-blue and the 4 blue-white stones, you're going to look at your hand and be like,
you're going to look at your hands. You're gonna look at your hands. You're not gonna know what to do.
Nice segue.
They were exactly where I thought they were, so I figured it out. So the challenge stands.
Yep,
gloves
they're
cluster.
Here.
The gloves cluster.
It's just a regular cluster, but everyone has those gloves.
So you have 13 days to get us 19 more members. And then all of February with the gloves. It's like me dyeing my hair. It's like me dyeing my hair like other YouTubers do, except I'm not dyeing my hair.
Most powerful color combination throughout the game's history.
Black, green.
Green, black, white. That's it. That's the 3.
I would argue that there have been times where green, black, blue has been stronger than green, black, white. But
you're lying.
That's not true. I mean, Bug in the era of Abdul and Sherry 1 was the best color combo.
I guess.
But
that
was the only time. That was the only time when Bug was better.
Right.
Consistently, black, white, green has consistently been the strongest color combination. If you can. We joked around
on the original Wanderer Bandless Committee and a little bit on Conqueror, saying, we should probably just ban Black Silence, and that just fixes a lot of the power disparity in this game.
You're not. I mean, honestly, you're not wrong. That could actually solve a lot. I wouldn't even say green in anything. There have been times where green has actually been bad. It's not super consistent, but black-green, pretty much every single time black-green enters the meta, it's just like, oh, great.
Yep.
Whoops!
What about red-green?
I mean, red-green's definitely had some very, very aggressive. I would argue that, like, Priscia is not a red-green deck. Priscia is just the ruler. Like, Priscia could have been literally any color combination, and it would have been the same problem.
She needs the reincarnation to draw the card when she does the turn 2 OTK.
I understand, but you could have made her color combination with those same effects, literally any color combination, and you would have.
Actually, you could, because you need the Sacred Elf. Had to be green something.
Green something, but like the red meant nothing there.
Oh, the red was meaningless. That didn't matter.
Yeah. So.
Green and a color.
Force of Wind has been a problem. I would argue that nowadays, the wind half of it has been significantly less so.
Well, last cluster was the cluster of darkness, so
Yeah, it's been a lot of dark as opposed to wind. And that's just been what it is. Good points, though. I came in at the end of you guys talking about the multicolor stuff. Hopefully that answers your question, Matt. Hopefully that provides some good answer for your community.
For the query.
To be able to build. The second thing is, why is curve important? Or like things to consider with curve. curve is important in this game, as much so in the sense of like you want to be able to take advantage of the way that Force of Will is designed.
Yep.
It is significantly easier to build to curve and have a much more flowing deck when the fact that you're getting a stone every single turn.
Sure. Can I?
Yeah, go for it.
I definitely want to talk on.
Yeah, go for it.
Curve, because I think that Forcible is one of the games. It's probably one of the games where the curve that you play on is the least important it'll ever be.
Sure.
Just because
I'm interested.
The game has so much interaction. I remember playing like a lot of the dumb strategies I make are like trying to play out on curve and just goofing around and trying to make an OTK on curve, which is hilarious. But a lot of the time, what matters not is the curve leading up to the power play. What matters is how you're able to interact with your opponent's curve up to the power play. Because if you're playing on curve, you're opening yourself up to cancels because your opponent knows you have a set amount of cards that you can play at a certain amount of time, and they'll save their answers for those cards. So when you choose to play on the curve, your opponent has a strategy in mind to counter that curve. If you play knowing that your opponent is trying to not curve out, then you answer that by kind of holding back your cards a little bit, taking the time off the curve, maybe casting more quick cast cards in between to like sort of round out the curve in a sense. So it's very difficult to say that Force Will is a game that's solely focused on that curve. Like in draft or in sealed events, curve is the most important thing because that's a format where the limited card pool means that as long as you put out bigger threats than your opponent does, you're going to come out on top as long as you know how to play to your outs there. The outs that you play to when you're in a constructed match are playing out to your opponent's removal, your opponent's cancels, your opponent's combos, and just having ways to interact with them. Because I remember, I'm going to go back to GP Minnesota at this point, because that was a time when a lot of people were playing a deck that was so rigidly set on OTKing on turn 3. But I think I might have gotten the turn 3 OTK off maybe 3 or 4 times in this whole tournament because my opponents were not playing on curve. And because they were not playing on curve, I had to play my curve around theirs and wait for them to overcommit to where I could start playing safely. And a lot of the time, Force Will comes down to being able to... It's a game of positioning. So the curve doesn't matter as much as more so just kind of like setting yourself in a situation where you know that you're safe, but you can turn on a dime to make your opponent feel less safe.
There is one thing that I want to kind of point out. Matt, you're talking really well about this idea of being dead on turn 3 wasn't always the case. I would say now that this idea of being dead on 3, I mean, and I don't have any data to back this up, so feel free to challenge me on it. It does feel like that's actually not like a majority of the time you're dead on 3. It's just significantly more possible than it has been in the past. So I don't think you can necessarily like. It's the same reason why. It's the same reason why, in my mind, when someone says like, "Oh, there's such a problem in the format because this ruler can kill you on turn 2," I'm like, yeah, I mean, like nut draws happen. Like we're playing a game of like shuffle and randomization. Like nut draws happen, and they've always happened in Force of Will when it's been a healthy format and when it's been a terrible format. So to me, I try not to focus on that. Because if we were to run like 100 games back to back to back to back to back, sure, there would be times where I would lose on turn 3. Do I think that it would be over 50% of the time? No. And so, like, to me, focusing on that doesn't matter. I do think that I've talked about it before, that I do think that they're working on slowing our game back down, slowing things back down and kind of cooling off, but that they have been having to do that over time because you can't just cut cold turkey from power. Like, you can't just be like, power, no power, because then no one's going to buy the cards because they're going to be worthless. But we'll just have to see. And like you're saying, Paul, or what you're saying, Mike, is, curve is Curve is important to be mindful of, but it's significantly easier to play around or play off of in this game than it has been in other games.
Yep, for sure.
Curve matters
Especially
if
with
you're
all three
playing Lilius.
Curve only matters if you're playing. No, curve matters if you're playing against Lilius.
Yeah.
Sure. I meant like you want to hit your turn, you want to get your second stone so you can play your shrine and just go off. And like
Well, yeah,
that's kind of what I mean. Like you want to get the second stone, but
Yeah, no,
But yeah.
yeah. When we say 5 turns, we're talking about like both players have 5 stones. That's what we say when we say like turn 5.
mhm.
So like 1, like you're saying, 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3. So more like round 5 rather than turn 5.
Right.
And I think we're heading that way. I think that if you're not playing at I'll also say that if you feel comfortable playing at the tier 1.5 competitive level, like that's where you want to play games. Most of your games are going to go to around like 6 or 7 or 8.
Mhm.
Yep.
Which is a ton of fun.
Oh yeah.
I don't think that there's been a game that Paul and I have played in person where we haven't gotten to like 8 stones. Just because of like the good interaction and fun back and forth and stuff.
Yeah, I think a lot of what defines a tier, like a turn 3, turn 4 format, is like how long can you go on realistically without having to interact with your opponent.
Right. Right.
And we're definitely in turn 3 format right now.
Yeah, no, yeah. If you choose to not do anything and you give Lilius 3 turns and you just didn't interact with Lilius for 3 turns, you're dead. Like that's just how it happens. But like that doesn't mean that you can't interact with Lilius for 3 turns. Like it is possible to do. So, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to see if there's any other kind of last points here because this has been a good talk. And thanks, chat, for all of your wonderful comments. You will notice that I have changed down below our countdown. Now says new members till gloves. So as a reminder, Imul is unlocked in 19, but in 19 members we do get the gloves.
You can change the picture from Lumia to the gloves. Yeah. It's just a close of the gloves.
Let's see. Let me see if there's any other questions. Nope.
I like this idea of generic, like high cost cards, like Motoko.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
sure.
like that idea a lot. And I would say we kind of had that back in New Valhalla in set 2 when we got Strangers of New Valhalla.
We got Athenia.
Oh,
yeah.
5-drop Athenia.
My heart. Oh, what a great
Mistletoe.
card. Mistletoe. But Athenia.
But definitely more Athenia, I agree.
Hey man, Misty put in some work for a bit.
She did.
Misty did was working for a bit.
It's good stuff.
Brunhild was real.
Brunhild was
Keyword
very
was.
real. Not anymore. Brunhild not very much anymore. Well, this has been a wonderful conversation, everybody. Thank you all so much in the chat for all of your wonderful comments and questions and topics. This has been a lot of fun. Hopefully next week we'll be able to start talking about spoilers. Hopefully. So we'll see how that goes. As always, again, just as a reminder of some housekeeping things. First off, feel free if you enjoyed what we did to click that subscribe and that bell button and the like and all that jazz because it feeds the YouTube algorithm and makes us happy. And then again, if we made you smile, made you laugh, or you want to help support us, you can click that join button down below, even if it's to make me wear gloves for a month. Feel free to join our Discord. We're very active, and there's a lot more people getting involved in the Ruler School Discord, so consider checking that out. Link to that down below, as well as links to the information for signing up for Svetlana's webcam tournament. Again, $1,500, regardless of attendance, to the top 8 players, like broken out to the top 8 players, and you get like $60 worth of promos. It's at least $50 worth of promos, including Rhea, Sylvia, Part of True Power, Heavenly Flash, like all this amazing stuff just for signing up. That's included. The shipping of those promos is included in your entry fee. So check out that link to go there. And then, as like I said, if you're looking for a new set, Magic Stone War Zero, Odyssey Games officially has boxes available for pre-order. Down below, there's a link to take you straight to the page. That is $85 US to ship within the United States, or plus shipping within the United States. So click those before they're gone. With that being said, thank you all so much for watching. And this has been myself, Jeremy Franklin, DMO73, and I've been joined by Paul and Mike Rance.
Hey-o.
And we'll see you
Hey-o.
all next week. So until then, class dismissed.
Daylight's come and